I'll watch like the first 5 minutes. I'll listen to it in the car.
This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley.
Okay, that's the signal.
That's a good one.
That's the signal that we're back. He's fiddling.
Yeah.
I don't know. When you start the show, when you start the show on a Willie H-ism,
Right.
like whatever he was explaining to us before we started, I don't even know. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I could barely hear stuff. I don't know if it's loud, low.
Right.
You gotta be an audiologist.
I am thankful for him knowing what he's doing over there, so I don't have to.
Well, it depends on the day of the week. I think. I think that because I don't know because like I can't even hear the intro. I don't even know what's going on.
Right.
But we're here.
We are here.
I guess maybe
Amen.
it's the 2025. Like the first few episodes of 2025. We've been off a little while.
Right.
Came back last week. I still got your glasses if you
I appreciate that.
if you want them.
Appreciate that. I'm happy to display them prominently.
People said we should have swapped, giving you the darker color to give you a little more opportunity.
Contrast.
Yeah, because that silver kind of just laid in flat.
It's like white on white, right?
Yeah. And folks, if you don't know what I'm talking about, of course, you've got to be watching. You've got to use the video. If you're on Spotify listening to us, you got to use the video option, or check us out on YouTube or CoryMosley.com. But
it's definitely winter.
yeah, it's just it's just a little elevated experience if you watch the video.
It is.
And all of this makes sense when we do that here.
Exactly.
If you're wondering where you are, if you got here by accident, you're just looking around. This is the Grow Business Podcast. I'm your host, Cory Mosley, and I'm joined by the abominable. No, a true scholar and gentleman. LG007 Lon Graham's in the house.
Voice of reason.
It's good to be here, Cory.
That's right. And the guy we're talking about endlessly, sometimes nicely, sometimes not so nice when he's getting it right, or maybe not, is our producer Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
That's right. He's hitting the buttons.
Right.
We were having a conversation about using headphones. Today, I feel like I wish I had some because I can't hear any of the drops that he's doing barely in the background. So we will write him up after the show. But in the meantime, the show must go on. Gonna put him on a PIP. Anybody?
Hold on, Buckaroo.
Anybody out there put anybody on a PIP yet for 2025? LG, we gotta put Willie H on a PIP. If you don't know what a PIP is, folks, a performance improvement plan, because we gotta get that audio right. This is great. Willie H is climbing under because it's in the camera. Willie H is climbing under the set right now to. I love that. That's going to make for a blooper reel. So we're going to see if we got it. But folks, it's very important. Now, you can get a ton of value out of what we're going to talk about today.
Correct.
But you will get more value if you made sure you listened to last week's episode.
Correct.
Because today is part 2.
Yes.
Do you remember what we talked about last week? That we started doing part 2 on?
We talked about goal setting and preparation for the year and
audio's back. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Willie H has got a big dust ball on his chest and crawling on the floor there. Well, no, our studio's pretty clean, so I guess I give him that. He keeps it. You keep the studio pristine, Willie H. We thank you for that.
He's got some crickets.
I don't know what's going on.
Right, exactly.
But yes, we were talking about this idea of rethinking your resolutions.
Yes.
We called it, right? Having a sustainable mindset for year-round success.
Yes.
Because I can tell you now with a certainty that many people have already abandoned their resolutions.
Lord have mercy. What's that commercial? There's a commercial that started around the holidays.
Yep.
And it talked about like that second Friday's quit day or something like
is
that.
It? No, I don't remember that. Yeah,
I forget who the company is that.
Yeah.
But they talk about second Friday of January is quit day.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different things. You can't I'm going to tell you, like, you start these challenges, like we're in a
Right.
challenge, like for, trying to eat better and
Right.
I'm going to get focused. I mean, I'm on camera a lot now.
Yes.
So I pay extra attention. So
Yeah.
I've got my squalane and I'm doing my fireweed and all that stuff at night and my serums and all this stuff.
Good.
Because you spend a lot of time on camera.
It's important.
So you're starting these challenges, but you can't, when you're doing a challenge, like health challenge, they make it sound so easy. You can't just go throw stuff away.
No.
So like we had to wean off,
yeah.
In a celebratory kind of like say goodbye. You can't just go throwing good ice cream out.
Oh no.
I mean, just in the name of a new challenge. You
Right.
gotta
Just dumb.
yeah, you gotta eat the ice cream. You can't
Right.
you can't go doing it. I got good stuff in there. Pecan Jack's ice cream.
Oh yeah.
Premium ice cream in there. You can't just throw that out. So we had kind of a goodbye party.
Okay.
We love Rice Krispie treats.
Oh,
So
Skip.
yeah, and I
Those
make
are
very,
so-
very good Rice Krispie
those
treats.
are
My
so
Rice
good.
Krispie treats are
Yeah.
mwah, like
Okay.
this.
All right.
So we had this box of Rice Krispies. Now we don't really eat cereal,
Right.
but we had I don't know, buy one get one free or something. So we had a box in there. So
Right.
we're going through our cabinets and we are throwing some stuff out, that
Right.
we're not going to use as part of this cleaner living, not perfection, but cleaner living.
Right.
And we get to this box and she's like, "Oh, well, it's like the box is unopened."
Mm.
So we can just take it back to the grocery store. It's unopened.
Right.
Publix is our local grocery store. So I don't know how long we've had it, maybe a month or so, but there's
Right.
no, like, as long as they can scan it and see in our file, because, you put in your code, they track
Right.
everything. It's like, oh, great. We'll get some carrots or something
Right.
with the $3 or whatever. And then we got to thinking about it. And there was some like weather or some things going on. And we're like, you know what? We're getting ready to go into this challenge, or we're in the challenge, but
right.
you don't count the first day or two of the challenge, right?
It's a transition
Yeah,
period.
correct. It's a transition period.
Right.
So, like, you know what? Do we want to take the Rice Krispie treat, or do we want to take the box of Rice Krispies back, or do we want to go buy a bag of marshmallows and do again, truth telling here, right?
Right.
So, we bought the marshmallows and we had a goodbye. Yeah. Now he's cooking with gas.
Yeah.
He's trying to get off that pip. He's like, if we can get through the episode and he turns it around, then I'll forget all about the
Right,
pip
he might
plan.
forget,
Yeah,
right,
he'll forget all about the pip plan. So anyway,
Especially talking about Rice Krispie treats.
yeah. So we didn't make. So again, we didn't make a resolution, but
Right.
we're human and we're working on it. So we
Right.
got it on our system. The key is, at current, we do not have marshmallows in our house or Rice Krispies in the house.
Right.
So that's a success story, because
Correct.
now we're going to be less prone to default.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it,
Did you make any? Well, we can't tell people not to make resolutions and then go make resolutions. So you didn't make any resolutions, but
I do
were there
goal,
some
yeah, I do
things-
goal
yeah, okay,
setting, and I
gotcha.
do
which is what we're talking about. Part
right.
two.
That's
two.
exactly right. And I
Yeah.
do that every year. We've talked about this
Yeah.
before. I use a quarterly planner, so I do a
Mhm.
transitional from Q1 to Q2, Q2 to 3, Q3
Right.
to 4, and I do annual goals and I track progress. And
Now, if you're off, do you have a pity day, or do you have a pity party?
no,
Like if you
look,
look and you go, I'm not hitting where I wanted to be. I'm not, how do you deal with that?
well, so depending on where we are in the quarter or where we are in the year.
Yep.
So I've really started leaning into, life's not an on-off switch. Goals aren't an on-off switch.
Yeah.
Priorities, challenge, all the things. Here's the things that I've learned, especially over the last few years. Most things that you want to accomplish take longer than you planned,
Mm,
and then they're harder than you thought they'd be.
right. Yeah.
And so both
Isn't
of
that the
those
truth?
things are often true.
Right.
So understanding that, I have really adopted a mindset of progress.
Mm,
Am I making progress to get closer to the goal?
Yep.
And one of the things that allows me to assess that is these quarterly check marks, right?
Mm.
Okay, each quarter, I transition the planner. I've got the annual targets in the back of the book, and I got in the front of the book, I got the quarterly targets.
Yeah.
And some of them I move because I haven't gone quite as far as I want to. Some of them I advance.
Right.
Some of the things I wanted to do, I check off in Q1, but I keep moving them so that I can see at the end of the year when I do my like and learn list. Here's what I like that I accomplished. Here's what I learned that I want to do differently next year. So,
You're so process systematic.
well, what it does is for me is, and I say this, I write to remember so I don't have to, but when you write things down, it brands your brain differently. instead of typing something in a computer, there's a tangible benefit to writing something down. So writing these things down really build them into my mentality.
I think people shortcut that stuff because they think it's more like woo-woo kind of things. Write it down, put it away. And I think people discount that, but it can really be powerful.
Yeah.
I think, and everybody's got do you have a word of the year? I was just talking to a client earlier before we came on, and she was telling us her word of the year is double down. That's her word. I think it was like intentional, be intentional last year.
Sure.
And it's double down this year. And I started to reflect on that. And I'm like, I'm really feeling my statement is Jerry Maguire.
Okay. And
you know what I'm talking about?
So there's a couple of different places you could go with that.
What was the main theme, though, of Jerry Maguire? The thing that got him in trouble.
Oh, the
main
stronger than oak.
Oh.
the main statement that got him, that started this whole process.
Show me the money?
No, when he wrote that manifesto,
it
was capsulated around one idea.
Okay.
Less clients, more personal attention.
Oh, okay.
And that was his...
Yeah,
that's what got him in trouble with sugar and the whole thing.
Right.
Like you can't write less clients. We're a sports agency. We want more clients. We want more of this. And I think that's the prioritization here will be not to focus on new acquisition,
right?
But to go deeper with our current clients,
right?
But also do some things, meet the needs of some other responsibilities that some of the deals I'm in relationships and acquisitions and things of that nature. That become important.
Well, in this business, there's some businesses that are transactional, and there's some business, it's just, you're buying units, you're buying wickets, you're buying objects.
Sure.
But when you're dealing with marketing, you're dealing with branding. I do some work in healthcare. All of these things are relational. Yeah. And I've been working on this idea of dirt and depth, right? So as an outside salesperson, you got to find the right balance between how much dirt you can cover and still go deep enough to grow roots and to get, to grow.
Okay.
And so you get the deeper that you can grow those roots, the stronger those relationships come in. And so if you can strengthen those relationships with the people that you're working with, it's going to be more beneficial for them because you can do more for them.
Yep.
And it's going to be more beneficial for you because you're going to grow the business that you're doing with them more, and you're going to benefit from that too.
Woo. Well, they should say amen. There you go. Dirt, get dirty, dirt, depth and dirt. Another gem from LG007. Yes, we like it. All right, so we're supposed to be talking about part 2 of this thing.
Yes.
When we talk about goals. So we covered part 1. I encourage you to go back because obviously we don't have time to rehash that. But we got into systems and goals, systems over goals, the anti-resolution. We talked about picking a word or a theme, backward goal setting, gamification. We talked about that. So I want to pick back up.
Okay.
Encourage you to go back and listen to last week's episode on that topic. But we can pick back up on part 2 and hop to technology really quickly. So 2 things. One is we talked about goal tracking. So if you're app driven, you may want to look at some great apps or bring in some technology to assist you in the process to help you set, track, and visualize. Understand some people, like written word, written planners. There's a lot of great tools there. But there are just so many intuitive, AI is scary to a lot of people, but there's so many intuitive things out there that can really help you get organized, notifications. Are you on page? Don't forget to take this goal. I'm dealing, this is something I haven't talked about publicly, but like I'm really coming to the conclusion that there's some kind of ADHD. Like I've been looking at, I'm not saying to be funny, I'm saying to be serious, that I look at how I get through my day. I look at all of the different things that I have going on, different people I'm accountable to. And then I look at some of the things that connect with ADHD.
Okay.
There's a lot of people undiagnosed with that idea.
Sure.
So it's something that I'm looking at to better understand.
Right.
And part of going through that process, now I'm not knocking anybody that is in the medical community or that's not something I'm looking into from a drug standpoint. Right. I'm looking at activities or things that really help me identify or stay focused.
Right.
So like I'm taking those things seriously Because I talk about apps, it's important that it be right for you, because there's a lot of stuff I don't have. If I get into it and I don't immediately connect with it, I'm out.
Right.
Like when it comes to these apps, like I know they'll do these wonderful things, and Cory, this thing will move your schedule around for you and help da da da. If I can't get a grasp on it, I'm out.
Right.
So it's important when I'm saying all this to say, hey, check yourself for ADHD. You might have ADHD, like me over here. But I mean, I don't know. I'm self-diagnosing myself. But contact your. Wait, I got to do the formal. Contact health. We're not giving out health advice of any kind here. Contact your health professional. But
correct.
They can be very, very useful. Sometimes it's over-engineered. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's giving you way more than any human being needs. But the concept is look for ways, or there are a lot of technological opportunities. And the thing I was saying about the ADHD piece is, as I look further into that, it's more about exercises, mental things.
Right.
So like an app I'm using blocks time for me automatically for me to then work on the ADHD stuff.
Right.
Because if it was left to me, it's like I had a procrastination app one time that I never used. Right? I mean, so I downloaded, bought, never used. And I know there's people out there that can relate. So I don't mind sharing it, because I know there's people that feel the same way. But what do you think about apps? Are you strictly paper, or are you using any kind of technology? And I'm not talking about, iCal, but I'm saying like some type of, to-do list calendar or anything like that.
So I use technology as a tool, and I look at it as a way to capture information. I look at it as a way to process information. But where I've really tried to distinguish technology to make me more efficient from a timing standpoint, I'm really careful not to try and use technology to replace the things that distinguish me in terms of, so I'm still a shake hands kind of salesperson. I see people and do that. And
I love where you're going, because I got to think about it. Like, I'm seeing all this avatar stuff now.
Right.
I'm seeing all the oh, okay, we'll just replicate you, and then you could be. I don't get that. Like, I don't want an AI version of me.
Correct.
That I can just send to people.
Right.
Or, oh, well, Cory, you don't need to be present to do a webinar anymore. You can have your avatar do it. Like those.
Hold on, Buckaroo.
Yeah. And again, there's something for everybody.
Correct.
But I don't want to be Max Hedren.
Right.
Now, you got to be born in the 80s or lower to know who I'm talking about. So, which is our demo anyway. I think we're safe. We looked at our demo from our stats, right?
We talked about
so
people
the
that
Gen
own
Zs are not exactly my, whatever, because I don't talk about hustle and grind all day either. But I don't want to be Max Hedren.
Right.
And so I can be, what is it? Max Headroom. Thank you.
Headroom.
Yeah, Max Headroom. Okay,
I knew
good.
you were talking about that.
Good. So inevitably, somebody. Well, I'm glad I got the correction now instead of an email.
Willie's paying attention.
Cory, just letting you know you had the name wrong, because there's always somebody there. But I don't get it.
Right.
Like, why I want to send that out. I can record a video. Oh, well, you can have video go out. But why can't it still be me?
Right.
I heard something. We haven't talked because we went right into this recording. Somebody was at the office and played for me a show.
Okay.
Like a fake podcast.
Oh, okay. A podcast.
With AI voices.
Okay.
Talking about the person.
Wow.
So you can let the AI talk to you like, oh, I got to tell you, I was thinking the other day, how can I really get ahead? And that Cory Mosley is really a guy. And it was this whole conversation with different voice. I'm telling you, it was on. I'm gonna pull it up after.
I believe. Okay.
I'm telling you, it was on point.
Okay.
And I'm just saying to myself, why would I want to replace us with a fake thing?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it becomes over-engineered, right? I mean, at some point, you're removing the thing that distinguishes you from a talent perspective.
Yeah,
and from you've got over 20 years of experience in business and sales and consulting, and
you want AI to help you write your copy?
Sure,
fine.
Use it as
but read it.
right. Use it to get
I can use
started.
AI to move faster and read, but I want to be the guy. I want to be the person looking into the camera. I don't know. Some of it I just don't get. Now, easy for me to say. I've been
Right.
speaking for 30 years, since I was 14 years old,
Right.
competing and speaking and that whole thing. So I'm not in that fear of speaking is the top
Right.
next to dying category. But man,
Yeah. So
we're way off rails. But go ahead.
Well, and coming back to it though is
you'll bring it home.
is
Look,
is
I'm sitting back now.
is again AI applications, apps, technology, CRMs, all the things that you can use to streamline your business. They don't replace you.
Yeah.
They create an environment where you can do more of the things that distinguish you, which is why people buy from you. We're talking to business owners and leaders.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you get LinkedIn messages now,
Yes.
is your first inclination it's a bot or it's some automated thing trying to cultivate me? I'd love to get saw your profile, love to get your insights on something. Can I ask you a quick question?
Right.
Like-
yeah, those things are predictable.
I did a keynote for years. It's still available because I think it's still relevant, but I did it a lot. It was called Best Practices Kill Sales Growth.
Oh,
How not to be a victim.
100%. Right.
So now it's like everybody's got the automated,
Right.
and we've talked about the emails and the automated emails,
100%.
but like I don't think I am skeptical now that I'm talking to an actual person. So like
Right.
I literally, if I'm LinkedIning somebody, sitting on LinkedIn, especially if it's cold, because
Right.
I still do cold prospecting.
Yeah.
Got to meet new people, right?
Right.
It's like first and foremost, this isn't an automated message.
Right.
I'm literally sitting here at 5:58 a.m. writing you this message.
Sending you
I
this
want to get
note.
that out of the way.
Right.
Like the fact that you even have to say that now.
Correct.
But what I like about that is it still allows me to be different
Correct.
because the person who is really writing it won't say that.
Right.
So they'll still have the other person on the other side thinking. So it's
Right.
still a way to cut through the noise and get some of your messages read
Right.
by acknowledging the crap that can be out there.
Well, and it's a way to distinguish yourself from that technology
Yes.
and humanize it.
Yes.
And people, and I think one of the things that we learned during COVID is the human element matters.
Right.
And
You can't just mail merge.
correct.
People are like, oh, Cory, I'm really excited about the work you're doing at Mosley Strategy Group, LLC.
Right.
I'm like, really?
Right.
Like, you don't think I could tell
Right.
that? First off, I'm not like, oh, I'm Cory Mosley from Mosley Strategy Group, LLC. I don't even talk like that.
Right. Well, and so I think bringing it all back
You're
together.
doing great work at Thought Leadership Studios, LLC. I was really impressed. And that's why you are the best. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I can't cut you
Well, I
off.
think to bring it back too, because we've got a list of things to
Yeah.
go over here. I think to bring it back is there are apps that can make your life easier. There are apps that can help you maximize your time. There
Right.
are apps that, and there's technology, whether it be apps or whether it be software or whatever we're talking about, whatever applies to you. Use it as a tool to help you advance the things that you do and reduce some of the daily grind activities so that you can be more you and do the things that distinguish you more. But don't walk away from those things and
Right.
not say, I'm not going to do it because that's not how I do it. Look at things critically and say, well, can this help me? And we talk about this 100% of the time in 2024. We're going to talk about it 100% of the time in 2025. What are we trying to accomplish? Can this help me get closer to what I'm trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
And there's your filter.
I mean, as I'm sitting here, I just got a solicitation. They're going to help me.
We
They're
help you.
They're going to share with me some clips. They're going to share with me some clips of their podcast. This is right here. I mean, you can't make this is real
Right,
time coming in.
100%, right.
They're going to share with me some clips of their podcast that will position me as an authority
Okay.
in my space,
Good.
which I can reuse in my own marketing.
Right. Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So clearly,
Clearly.
like this is what we're talking
We
about.
have no
It's
idea.
going to help me.
Right.
Going to help
me
Saturday
help
night.
you.
Going to give me a platform
Right. Help me.
to establish my thought leadership.
Help me help you.
help Jerry Maguire,
There
right?
you
Help
go.
me,
Help
help
you.
you, help
That's right.
me. Now, I guarantee you, 6 will get you 12.
Right.
Willie H in social media, when we go to reel, when it's gets chopped into reels, is going to have the Jerry Maguire.
Perfect.
Something from Jerry Maguire.
Perfect. That'd be awesome.
I can guarantee it.
Good.
All right. So I'm going to you talked about it actually already. You were clairvoyant here.
Okay. Ooh.
Or perceptive or intuitive or all of
Right.
those things.
Like my
Yeah,
globe?
all of that. Yeah,
there
Max
we go.
Headroom. Max Headroom. AI for accountability. You talked about it.
Okay.
Explore how AI tools or virtual assistants can provide reminders and motivation.
Yes.
So under that technology, right? The
Correct.
tracking, the apps, technology, but how can AI improve your accountability?
Correct.
Because a lot of times our inability to take action is based on accountability and
Correct.
accountability partnerships and really
Right.
having that scenario. So, okay. Innovative mindsets for success.
Okay.
So thinking about the power of identity-based goals. It sounds like we're in Tony Robbins territory when I say
Right.
that out loud, right? So just this idea of like, it's not I want to lose weight.
Right.
It's like I am a healthy person.
Right.
Like I remember one of Tony Robbins' thing is nothing tastes as good as thin feels.
Right.
Like I remember that
Right.
from UPW when I was walking on
Right.
fire and
Sure.
I don't know, buying everything that he
Right.
had there. Right.
Right.
I didn't go to Fiji though. That's more about the distance. That's a tough one there.
That's a long way to go.
But so what do you think about that? This identity, like this, right? So visualizing your outcome.
Well, and I think, and you talk about Tony Robbins, and Ed Milet runs in that same space too.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Milet talks about
the Ariete Syndicate. Or
yeah,
whatever
exactly.
they got,
yeah. And he talks about the feeling. You don't necessarily want the goal, you want the feeling that comes with that goal.
Yes.
So you want more energy. You want to lose some weight because you want more energy. You want to lose some weight because you want to feel better walking into a room.
Right.
And so it's a similar thing that you're talking about. The reality of it though is technology. You can use technology to help keep you on track.
Right.
So you can use schedule reminders. You can use reminders on apps to, okay, well, this is the time. Just like people use to take their medication, just like people use for certain things in their health life, you can use these for your goal life and for your focus. The challenge is make sure these things are keeping you going in the right lane.
Right.
What you talked about earlier, the ADHD effect, and social media and apps and everything's got a reminder or a notice or an announcement. Only choose the things that are going to help you make progress.
Right.
Because if you leave your Facebook reminder on or your LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever it is, those things are going to be dinging all day, and they ding because they want you to look. And when you hear it, you're looking.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Turn those things off. Focus on the things that are going to get you closer to where you're going.
What is that one thing called the Pareto?
Oh, Pareto principle?
Pareto print. That's the 25. Yeah. No, is that the thing? No, what's the thing where you work for a period of time?
Oh,
like 25 minutes at a time.
Right. That's something else. That is
Pomodoro.
Or there you
Pomodoro
go. That's
technique.
the time. That's the time.
That's what. Yeah,
right.
You block the thing and then tick. Yeah, I like that, and I use like an app called Indle. So if I have to go in focus mode, I throw the earphones on, set that for whatever the time is, and then it gives me the binaural to get focused, and then chimes me out. But like, boom, everything's off. I know, do not disturb, kind of thing. So, all right. So, okay, identity-based goals. Number 2, in that model, this like innovative mindsets, celebrating progress over perfection.
Yes.
And then again, back to this kind of visualize your success. So that could be vision boards. That can be, visualization exercises.
Correct.
So, and I gotta, because again, you start going into the woo-woo category, where people think. Right. So I feel like it's a comprehensive strategy. Okay. I don't, the secret was the wave 10 years ago, or the rave, or the secret, and you're just going to manifest it. And listen, there were guys who built their whole career. Bob Proctor, RIP, built his whole career on vibration and energy and all those things. I'm not saying none of that exists, because I definitely think the universe, the universe has given me some great gifts. Universe, God, but It's rained
Right.
too.
Correct.
It's stormed too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but a vision board alone, nah.
Right.
You know, putting the Mercedes on the vision board, putting Bora Bora on the vision board, putting a picture of, $3 million on the vision board,
Right.
and then staring at it, all day is not the game.
No.
Right? You have to. Bishop T.D. Jakes says, "Don't wish for the table, wish for the tree." Right?
Right.
God's not giving you the table.
Right.
God's giving you the tree.
Right.
You gotta make the table
Right.
out of that.
Yeah. So and I'm reading this book right now about manifestation,
Okay.
and it was written by James Doty. It's Mind Magic. And
Okay.
so he's a Harvard neuroscientist, or not Harvard, Stanford neuroscientist,
Gotcha.
and
Gotta
talks
lead with that, right?
right.
Because that's the barometer if he's crazy or not.
Right. Well, 100%. Right.
Because you said he's a self-taught neuroscientist.
Right.
You turn it off. Stanford.
Well, he's on staff at Stanford. He's a neuroscientist.
On
I
the
also think
staff.
I think he's also a neurosurgeon.
and wears a sweatshirt.
And wears a sweatshirt.
Because you got to wear a sweatshirt.
That's part of the deal.
Harvard,
That's
Stanford,
that's
Yale.
part-
You got to wear the
That's right.
sweatshirt.
Well, you
right?
got to wear the
Yeah.
logo, whatever
Yeah,
the logo is.
I'm going to go up to the gift shop and just
Get
me one.
Get you a Wharton.
yeah, feel good.
Right. But the point of it is that what we think about and what we put in our minds are things that we end up moving towards.
Sure.
And that's the idea of it.
Mhm.
So you're right. Putting up a vision board and sitting in a chair looking at your vision board all day is not going to get you what's on that vision
Right.
board. But what the idea of it is you start to process
Correct.
ways to get there. You start to
Right.
make decisions because with that vision board on your wall,
Mm-hmm.
every time you walk by it, you're reminded of what's on there.
That's right.
So when you start to make decisions, is this going to get me closer to the thing that I want that's on that wall? Or is this going to push me further away or draw me away?
right.
And that's really the idea is focus, lane, direction. But these things give you, like I talk about define success when I talk to sales leaders, the number one priority in being successful is you have to define success.
Sure.
That's what you're defining is success on that board. And that becomes a filter about how you're making decisions. So it's not just the
Correct.
vision board.
Correct.
It is making the decisions
It's not
that
just
go
arts
in
and crafts day.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you're thinking about stuff all the time.
But it's like to your point, right? So I ride motorcycles.
Right.
One of the first things they tell you when you're training a motorcycle is you will stare where your eye is.
100%.
So if your eye is looking at the pothole,
Right.
Jack, you're going in the pothole.
Correct.
So it's so to me that is the practice of visualization. This idea of again identity-based goals comes together as a collective,
Correct. 100%.
to get you where you want to go.
Yeah. They all work together.
Right.
They all, like I say,
Yep.
nothing happens in a vacuum.
Yep.
They all work together.
So now let's so we're talking about we've talked about kind of the resolution. What are some methods that people are using right now to stay committed?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about I hadn't even gotten to this when I talked about it, but we talked about this idea of challenges.
Okay.
So you have a lot of challenges that started at the beginning: walking, eating right, learning a new book, learning a language, like everybody. But because it's solid, so they talk about 90-day challenges, right?
Okay.
So get a manageable 90-day challenge instead of trying to make some annual resolution
Right.
or something that's going to happen. The other thing I think is the reset. People will go eat the Rice Krispie treat and go, you know what? This whole thing's over.
Right.
And I think the key is what your increase the speed of your bounce back.
Okay.
You're not going to not make a mistake.
Right.
Or not have now, if you've got that discipline, my aunt 40 years ago, 30 years ago, quit smoking.
Right.
She woke up one day and said, I'm not going to smoke anymore, and never did again.
God bless her.
That doesn't work for everybody.
No.
Right? Some people need the gum, they need the patch, they need to
Right.
wean off. They need to go from 2 packs a day to 1 pack and make that an accomplishment and then wean through that process. But making it manageable and understanding you can have the bounce back. I ate the Rice Krispie treats, and let me tell you, I enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't feel guilty.
Right.
And then the next day, they were gone.
Right.
And, just like going into the confessional, you say, I'm sorry, 3 Hail Marys and 4
Right.
Thou art fathers or whatever it is. Somebody Catholic will let me know what it is.
Yeah.
3 Hail Marys.
Right.
Isn't it 4 Our Father? I mean, you're not Catholic, Willie H.,
I'm
but
not
you know
Catholic
this
either.
stuff. Yeah, it's like for our fathers and yeah.
Right.
So you say, I tell my body I'm sorry, and then we
Right.
go try again, right? So,
Right.
so the challenges, accountability partnerships.
Yes.
So we talked about using an app. Now it
Right.
could be a person, right? Can you hold me
Correct.
accountable? My wife was in all these walking challenges with
Okay.
some friends, a girlfriend of hers, and she's pacing around the bedroom at night. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh no, I gotta beat her. She's got me by 32 steps. I gotta get these steps in. Yeah, very powerful motivator there too, right? Also, the third thing here, and I want to bring in is public declarations.
Okay.
So the idea is to go public,
Right.
to have added accountability,
Right.
right? I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, like you're announcing that on Facebook or whatever. That's not my stick, but I'd rather you just go, wow, when you see me.
Right. Well, and those public declarations work for people. And the question is what are you choosing to be, what are you calling public?
Sure.
The Facebook declaration is one thing, the LinkedIn, the Instagram, those declarations. And some people need that because that's where they get their socialization. Mm-hmm. Other public declarations are like your wife with people.
Right.
That you're saying I want to walk more. This is what I want it to look like. And you're saying it to your friend who also wants to walk more. That's as public a declaration as putting it online.
Yeah.
So choose, but what saying it out loud to somebody else does is you become more invested in it.
Right.
Because you want to have credibility. And the way to have credibility to what somebody that you told it is to do what you said you're going to do.
Right.
That's the power of it.
I like it.
Voice of reason.
All right. Incorporating fun and flexibility.
Yes.
Plan for reset days.
Yes.
Oh, look at this. I'm ahead of the. I haven't.
You are predictive.
I haven't looked at this. I haven't looked at this copy since we originally did it, and we're coming back to part 2. But I'm pleasantly surprised. I know. So plan for reset days. Allow room for life's hiccups without abandoning the goal entirely.
Yes.
I call it, a reset or a snapback, basically there. 2, create a bucket list. So turn your resolutions into exciting experiences or challenges.
Yeah.
I like that one.
So I do too. And there's a couple things. That's why, part of you talk about the reset. Part of this quarterly approach that I use allows me to check in. Now I check in every morning because I call it set the T for the day, right? How am I setting my intentions for the day? And I do that. And I've got certain things that I put on there. And then each of the activities that I have fall into those 3 priority buckets.
Okay.
So I do that. But these resets.
You're like a regular old Hal Elrod.
Well, I've learned that
the guy that does the what is it, the Morning Miracle or?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know exactly what it.
Yeah.
But I do these things because they allow me to reset. They allow me to focus my morning. These are the things I want to accomplish for the day. And the reason I want to accomplish these things is because they get me closer to the targets that I have in the back of the book or in the front of the book or wherever I've written my targets down.
Yep.
These quarterly things, you can do it weekly, you can do it monthly, you can do it quarterly, however often you want to do it. But these are the things that allow you to reset and say, okay, here's where I am. How much progress have I made? And is this something I want to continue to do?
Yep.
Well, if it is, then how much more progress do I want to make? And that's these resets. The problem is that we look at these, we call them goals in the beginning, and now we're calling them targets, and we're calling them, things that we want to accomplish. The reason that we struggle so much with them is if we look at them like a light switch where we're turning them on or off,
right?
And they're either on and we're successful or they're not. We lose so much sight of the impact of the progress.
Right.
And we lose so much sight of the power of the progress. And I'll go back to what I said in the very beginning. Most of the things that we want to accomplish that are worthwhile are harder than we think they are and will take longer than we planned.
Yep.
Maybe this guy can help me.
And understanding those 2 things reinforces the power of progress.
Right. I like it.
I was waiting for something. No,
well, he gave you. You got it early.
Here's the one other thing I'll say too, though, is you can't just change one thing.
Yeah.
You talked about you know that you like the taste of Rice Krispie treats.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you're going to be tempted
Right.
to make Rice Krispie treats.
Right.
And there's going to be times where it snows outside and you're stuck in the house and you're like, you know what, this is a good time to
Yes.
kind of reset. But you don't
Yeah.
have to eat the whole tray. You can eat 2/3 of that tray.
That's a toughie.
It is. But
That's a tough.
but you don't have to
I like
punish
where
yourself.
I like where you're going.
Right.
But that's a toughie. Now, I will tell you, there are things that there are things that I regret, and I do them what we do need, we're not a guest-driven show, but we need a resident shrink
100%
to come
right.
on and explain some things to me because we're like, whatever the circumstance that led up to it, we're like,
Right.
why don't we just get a pizza? Why don't we're gonna get
Right.
we're gonna get a frozen pizza. Now let me tell you, I hate every frozen pizza just about that I've ever tasted. And we regret every single time
100%.
getting one.
Yes.
Yet
Yes, you
here
can.
we were the other night
Right.
with one, and I didn't finish it. And immediately after getting through the first slice, I'm like, this is garbage.
This is why we don't do this.
And and this is why we don't do this. This is why we hold out for the one pizza place that I love that is 20 minutes away that I have to deal with parking and all these other things to get into. But when I'm eating it, I'm satisfied.
Right.
I need somebody to explain to me why I still did that.
Right. Ease of
Part of
access.
my ADHD.
Well, part of you.
Maybe it's I'm playing. Look, everything is based on that now.
Now,
I'm blaming everything. I'm blaming everything on that. That is.
And you better believe it.
Well, and the thing you think about too is this is why you can't just say this is what I want to accomplish or this is what I want to do.
Right.
You've got to build in systems like we talked about in the last episode. Go back to the last episode,
Sure.
listen to that. You got to build in systems. You got to build in some behavioral changes because the reason that you will eat that pizza, even though you know it's bad, it's because it's in the refrigerator.
Right.
By the time you go down to the place that you love,
Right.
20 minutes there, 20 minutes back, an hour in, you think about being hungry all the way down there. And by the time you got to find a place to park, you've already finished that thing that's in your refrigerator.
Yeah.
So it's, like, how do we navigate through some of those things? And behavioral, we have to change all of these things, incorporate multiple ways to be successful in order to be successful.
All right, I love it. Let me give you the last one in the fun and flexibility. Reward yourself creatively.
Yep.
Think about some unconventional ways to celebrate your progress.
Okay.
Because the funny thing is, we're using a lot of health references and food
Correct.
references, but like if you think of the interesting thing, part of that is like, we'll talk about cheat days.
Right.
You're like, oh, I'm eating clean to get to the weekend so I can have a Big Mac.
Right.
The problem is psychologically, you're making the Big Mac a reward
Correct.
for eating clean.
Correct.
And that's the wrong conversation.
Right.
So what are some things? It's like, oh, I've been good this week,
Right.
so I will reward myself with this candy bar.
Right.
And we're tying that satisfaction, not the satisfaction of, we're not getting satisfied about doing, quote unquote, the right thing
Right.
for that week. And looking at some reward that maybe is not even in the food sense, not even connected to that.
Right.
So I think look for those unconventional ways that you can celebrate the progress of whatever you're doing.
Well, and this goes back to, one of the things we talked about a little bit earlier, Tony Robbins and Ed Milat, is what is the feeling that you want to have by doing that activity? Well, reward that feeling. And so if you're you're eating healthy during the week, you want to feel better.
Right.
Well, when you eat that candy bar, when you eat that pizza, you're not going to feel better. So create an environment where you can visualize what you want to feel like and what you want it to represent. And then you can be creative and go to a movie, go see a movie that you wanted to see.
Right.
Go to the park, go to an arboretum or a garden or a botanical
You don't
garden.
have to get a 12-pack of Cinnabons.
Correct. Although 12-pack Cinnabons are good.
Well, you could say that.
Well, they're good for everybody. They just aren't good for
You
everybody.
disgust me.
They taste good to everybody. They just aren't good for everybody.
You and Willie H. I had to move something. We put this rack in our garage, and it's on wheels, but it sits flush with our electrical panel.
Okay.
And then we overloaded a circuit, to then go out to get the electrical panel. So now in my garage, I've got my car in the garage. And so now when I'm trying to move this thing, it's like it's a little gap.
Right.
That now you got to squeeze to go behind. So I looked at the gap and I'm like, not happening. So I called my boarder, also known as my nephew, to come, who's, an extra small,
right,
or whatever size, whatever waist size he is.
Who can fit into that space.
It's Willie H over here. And he just comes over. Oh, you can't get past there? Can't get in there? And just swooshes right in there. I started to lock I had to close the thing behind him, but I didn't. All right, last three, and then we're going to get out of here. We're going to complete this series.
Let's do it.
For 2025.
Right.
So mindfulness and reflection.
Yes.
Review and reflect, right? Set some time aside each week or month to reflect on progress and make adjustments. You've been talking about that this whole time. 2, gratitude as a goal.
Okay.
Set intentions around gratitude to boost mental health and resilience. Again, these things matter. The subconscious mind and unconscious mind is where all the programming happens. When I'm making that bad decision to get that garbage pizza in the store, that decision was already decided for me before I said. And the moment I sit at that case and look at it and contemplate it, I'm referencing things that have already been programmed to make me make the bad decision.
Right.
And then the third thing here is tracking your emotional metrics. Instead of just tracking actions, monitor how you feel about your progress. And I'm going to tell you how this has been a great tool, or was a great tool for me years ago.
Okay.
And I don't even remember the source, but this is 20 plus years ago. I learned a long time ago to start to become hyper aware about the things that I'm doing that seem supernatural to me versus the things that I'm doing that my body and my mind are telling me I don't want to be doing them.
And when you say supernatural, what do you mean by that? Because that's powerful.
That are natural to, so I learned this lesson years ago.
Okay.
I tell a story in Position for Growth, which we haven't plugged yet, but my latest book, Position for Growth, in stores now. And I tell a story about Bob Friedman, who was like a young mentor to me when I was 21. I was I had an office in a office, before co-working got popular.
Right.
I was in an office suite complex, and Bob Friedman was a retired big time CPA. So he went to the top of the food chain, head of a firm, big partners, but then he was in the twilight. So he was, well, not twilight, because I think maybe he was your age. No, but I think Bob, might have been in his 70s.
He was
so
post-corporate career.
Yeah. So he was whining. So this was his so he rented an office for his private clientele that he handpicked.
Right.
That's something to do, right? Wife doesn't want him in the house all day. Right. So he just took a liking to me for whatever reason early on. He had I tell the story, he had the big BMW, I had the little BMW.
Right.
We both had the green and tan combinations, and we parked next to each other. Our parking spots were next to each other. So he just, took to me. And he had a client that was up for bid on a contract. It was a $1.2 million contract, and this was their whole business.
Right.
It was a technology related contract. Now this was, we're in 2025, so this was 24 years ago. 25 years ago, because it was Y2K related. Okay. So they were in a bid for what was called at the time Bank of New York Mellon Bank. Yeah. Which became Chase, I think, or whatever, got absorbed. Yeah. So they were up for this bid. So this was an RFP. Now I'm 21. I had to look up what an RFP was. Right. But Bob comes to my office one day, he knocks on the door, he says, "Hey kid, I don't know exactly what you do." And I was starting to speak, and I was starting to do some consulting work in the automotive space specifically is what I was there for. But he's like, "I don't know exactly what you do, but maybe you can help me with this." And, the first rule of business is say yes, then figure it out. Right. So of course I can help you with it, Bob. Right. He says, "I've got this client, they've got this contract, they've got this RFP. I can handle all the financial stuff because I've been handling their financial stuff for 10 years. But some of this other stuff, isn't my wheelhouse. Is this something you can help me with?" Now, we didn't have a conversation about fees or anything. He said, "I figure I'll bring him in. We'll meet for a few hours, and then you can go through it." Now, of course, RFP, right? You've got all this. Explain this. How would you deal with that? Why should you do this? So we had to go through this. And it was an extremely easy task.
Oh, okay.
And I met with him. I extracted the information. There was just a natural, and I'm not, you've been around me for years now. I'm not an ego-driven person, or bombastic in that way.
Right.
But it was just an exceptionally easy thing for me to come up with.
Right.
I farmed out the actual drafting to an administrative person, right? And then I started to learn. Then someone brought the concept to me of saying, you know what? Wow, and that's kind of how I started doing a lot more consulting, because there's a natural inclination to solve a problem that I have. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
So I started to become hyper aware at that point of just, what do I like doing? So it's kind of like being on stage, right? Very, not a hard thing to do, very easy to do. Okay, great. How do we do more of that?
Right.
And less of the stuff that I don't like. Right. Responding to emails, doing detail-oriented minutia.
Right.
I think that's why consulting was a natural thing for me, because it allows me to go from project to project. Now, whole nother episode, we'll get into the impact on that and ADHD.
Right.
ADHD.
Right, correct.
Because ADHD
they are
will make you think that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And it will make you think that you're only alive if you're putting out fires.
Right. Yeah, that's a dangerous move.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah. We could have 7 episodes on that.
Yeah, of course. So anyway, at any rate,
right. But thank you for clarifying that. And what you're talking about is, I've heard it called body compass. What makes you feel body compass?
Yeah, the guy with the long name that I can't spell. So that's the guy who wrote the book Flow.
Right.
Yes. Like, where was I? The time flies by where you get lost in the work or whatever.
Right. And I get juiced about doing it.
Yes. Yes. And paying attention to those moments. So I think when we talk about tracking emotional metrics, I think that is actually a fairly easy way if you become observant of a situation. Observe yourself, observe those moments.
Right.
And that's about awareness. Gary Vee talks a lot about, being aware, hyper aware. Right. And there really is something to that if you want to tap into the emotional intelligence of that, gratitude, reflection, all those. I want to say this, be very clear. If this is something foreign to you, you're so alpha, it would never even cross your, that's weak stuff to your emotions. Listen, good luck with your heart attack.
Right, exactly.
Because if you're in any kind of entrepreneurial venture or anything that involves high stress or high stakes situations, and you aren't paying attention to what's happening to your emotions in a process, you're headed for trouble.
Yeah, you're headed for a heart attack,
in my opinion.
Well, and there's a all of the things that you said are great, but specifically for those people that are super alphas that are like, I just don't have time for that.
Right.
Here's a way that I learned to think about it. Does it give me energy or does it suck the life out of me?
Right.
And when I'm done doing it, where am I?
Right.
Walking off stage is one of the greatest feelings in the world, because when you give a
as long as they're clapping.
Right. Well, as long as they're clapping. Well, I've done stand up and they.
I don't know. Yeah.
I've done stand up and I would be thankful for crickets at that point.
Yeah.
But does it give you?
You're a brave one. I've heard some of those jokes. So
you know why I got crickets. So if you pay attention to it,
right.
There's a way you can say this feels good. Walking off stage like you just gave an hour talk to a room full of people that's in your wheelhouse and you just made their life better. And they're going to spend the next half hour coming up and telling you all the things that they liked about what they learned from you.
Yeah.
Great energy. That's not for everybody. There's some people that have a heart attack on stage because it scared the life out of them.
That's right.
But great energy. The other thing is there's situations that suck the life out of you. You talk about, going to networking events. And when you walk out of a networking event, you feel like you just, like somebody just unplugged you.
Right.
And so those are the types that, it's an easy way to figure it out. But it is important because if you're doing more of the things that energize you, you're going to be more effective, you're going to have more fun, and you're going to go a lot further.
Yeah. There it is. I like it.
Can I say one thing about the beginning about that gratitude piece? gratitude and progress are tied together.
Mm.
And I think when we talk about mindset and gratitude, there's a lot of people like, well, what have they be thankful for? If you focus on problems, you're going to see problems. If you focus on possibilities, you're going to see possibilities. The reality of it is that if you can give yourself credit for progress, you're going to be able to appreciate things differently, and you're going to be able to keep going. It's easier to keep going if you can give yourself credit for the work that you've done.
Let the church say amen. Well, there it is.
Yeah.
I think a great way to end part 2 of this opportunity. We want to again welcome you back to 2025. If you're looking for ways to grow this business, you're at the right, we love to have you here every week. If you want to get something physical in your hand, Position for Growth, now available on Amazon.com, also CoryMosley.com. I think it's a book if you're in business and you're looking to take the next steps, next level, very well reviewed and doing well. And I'd encourage you to make the commitment to do that. We will have, because I get the emails, oh, Cory, I'm an audio book person. So Q1, we'll be talking about that soon. We'll get that thing on Audible.
Okay.
Yeah, so coming to Audible soon. So stay on the lookout for that. But get a good old paperback copy in your hands right now. I think that's it.
It's hard for you to autograph.
That's true.
Audible. It's a lot easier for you to autograph.
You order from CoryMosley.com. Of course,
right.
we ship out the autographed copies here, but we want to welcome you to 2025 again. Happy to have you here as a listener. Encourage you to share with any people in your entrepreneurship community. We've got some great feeds going out. Some organizations that are picking us up now and feeding it out to their members, and just a lot of exciting things that we're going to get accomplished this year. LG 007 is here. We might have some interesting guests. He likes PTO. when he likes to get his PTO, which I frown upon heavily, by the way.
Well, in order to have PTO, you have to have the P.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying we're looking for sponsors.
That's right. That's right. Get there. We're going to keep getting those numbers up.
That's right.
Rogan, we're coming for you, baby. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We appreciate you, as always, as listening. We hope you check us out on YouTube also if you want to get the visual flavor. We also broadcast in HD on our Spotify channel as well. But continue to check us out on the places that you consume content.
Yep.
And that's it.
Thanks
This
for
has been
coming.
another edition. Yeah, thanks for you got to do your thing.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back.
That's right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. I love it. I'm Cory Mosley. He's late. He thought I was going to do the other one. I got to say it your way, apparently. Well, you're supposed to do the thing. Okay. This has been another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. I'm Cory Mosley. And on behalf, we don't get the other one. He just does that part. Okay. He's making motions at me. Hey, we took a few weeks off.
Right. Yeah.
All right. We're back in the saddle now.
That's
all right?
right.
On behalf of myself, Cory Mosley, LG 007, and Willie H., we will see you next week. Willie H., take us out. Whoa. That's what he meant about loud.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Blow your eardrums off. That's good. That's good. That was a double. I mean, really, because there's something for everybody. That's what I like about these, even though we got to do them as a twofer.
Right.
And I think that's just more respectful than running for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You lose people.
Yeah.
If you keep it
Gonna
45
come
minutes
back,
to an hour.
Come back a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we complete it. So
What do they call that in the news industry? Bait.
I don't know.
When you're running a promo for the next segment, you're
Oh, okay. Teasing.
teasing.
Teaser.
That's
yeah.
what
Teaser.
it is.
Yeah.
Teaser.
Yeah. You do the teaser.
Yeah.
That's what we do over here.
Yeah.
We tease.
We tease a little bit. Yeah.
We tease a little bit. A little bit teaser.
Welcome. Oh, there's more to come.
We tease.
More to come and more reason for you to come back.
Yeah, come
Awesome.
on back. Yeah.
That's good though. These,
We're going to do a whole episode talking like that. Yeah.